All right. Hello, Africa. Hello, Ghana. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to the whole of Africa and the world across board. Today is 8th of June in the year of our Lord, and it's a very freaky, funky Friday. Now you are live on the Richie King Show, and today I have a special guest in the house, as I told you earlier on, and we're going to talk on the topic: stop selling Africa through the use of negative documentaries. And I have my guest for the show, and she goes by the name Jackie Boyton.
Yes.
Welcome to the show, Jackie Boyton.
Thank you.
Okay, quickly, let's do this very quick, and let's see. Have you ever been to Africa before?
No, I have not.
Do you ever have any plans of going to Africa?
Yes. That is one of the things. One of the places I want to go to is Africa.
Africa, okay. And what is your view on Africa, and what is your interest?
Well, the reason why I want to go to Africa is because I want to go to Kenya. I want to see the animals.
The safari?
You know, yes. Do the traditional tourist things.
Okay.
But I would also like to see the reality of Africa. See how it really is, how people really live, how the tribes really live, how life is, which is not as pretty as they painted in the for the tourists. And I'm hoping that it's not as horrible as they make it seem with certain documentaries and certain social media posts and stuff like that.
All right. With the documentary stuff you just made mention, we'll come to that. But let's see. Have you ever had any negative impact or any negative thought or any negative stories? Being it maybe from your infancy. You have been in the United States all this while, and I've had a lot of friends, back in the United States, Europe, and across Asia, and they have this negative thought about Africa, negative perception. Have you ever had that?
I don't think I have a negative perception per se, but I think that what comes out, what is told about Africa is you can say it's negative because of all the history, because of the guerrilla warfares, the disease, all of that. You can say partly that it's negative. It hasn't had a negative impact on me where I feel like I never want to be around Africa or Africans. But I think that the truth is that the history of Africa, from what I learned in school, you learn through documentaries, is that it's a very scary history. It's very scary.
How scary it is?
It's very scary because, you have, which is in every part of the world. It's here in China too. But, for example, I'm a mother. I'm a mother. You have a lot of the documentaries where I've seen that talk about, the child warriors, child soldiers, how they steal the children, how they rape the girls. In China they do that too, in America, everywhere in the world.
Yeah.
But I feel like I've seen a lot of documentaries, especially in Africa, about that.
About Africa.
About Africa, but Africa has a beautiful history, but many times it's told in a negative light. There's bad things in every history.
Yeah, sure.
But I feel like maybe those who do the documentaries or those who do the social media, they focus a lot on the bad, but they don't focus on some of the good that comes out of it. There's bad things that happen all the time, but there's good things that come out.
All right. Now let's look at this situation. You have been in America for a very long time, right?
Yes.
And let's see how American does their things, like their social media thing. I know specifically, but I have, like I told you, I have a lot of friends, they told me weird stuff about bribery and corruption in the police department in America, bribery and corruption here and there, but they always tell me that America has a way of controlling their system. They have a way of controlling their system, domesticating things so that it will not come through the media to other parts of the world. How is it?
No, they don't. for a bribery or something to be put on the media, to be put in the news, it has to be something very big. It has to be in a grand scale of things. It's not just, somebody, maybe a sheriff from one town was bribed. That maybe will be in the town newspaper, but it won't go from there.
Okay.
So in the States, yes, we do domesticate things because we keep them within our perimeters. We don't really let them out. And if they do come out, it's because the journalists allow it to come out. They say what comes out. Yeah. They give you just the information they want to.
They want to.
They don't give you any more, any less.
Is it because they want America to be still the powerful kind of maybe like a country, a very powerful country like it used to be? So-called people say, America is the most powerful country in the world. Is it that they are trying to at least maintain that?
I think that part of it is because part of it is yes, you have to keep your face, you have to maintain that, you have to.
The dignity of a country?
Yeah, well, no, you have to just try to maintain the fact that you want to be number one.
Sure.
America wants to be number one. They've always done it, and we've done it in many. The history has shown we've done it in many violent ways. Yeah. But the journalists, the news, they will stop they will stop a reporting if what it does is hurt. Sure. You see, sometimes stories really go out of proportion.
Sure.
They get big. They become a small story on a small scale becomes very big. Sure. Depending on who brings light to it. Yeah. What journalist brings light to it. Yeah. Because it's also about that. Who brings it to light? Who talks about it? Who says what?
Okay.
It's also about that because Americans will listen to certain people and they won't really listen to, they will pay more attention to certain journalists, like from certain outlets like CNN, Fox News, they'll pay attention to certain ones, but they won't pay attention to all of them, I guess you can say.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Oh yeah. Okay, now looking at Africa, this is a country whereby everything comes out, boom, into the system, just everything, through the media. And all these stuffs are negative stuffs that come out from Africa, a lot of countries in Africa into the world. Now let's compare this to America. I
think it has a lot to do with the history because BBC,
Al Jazeera, and this.
Yeah, I think that a lot of partly is that Britain had certain parts of Africa for a while, so they feel they have dominion over it. They feel like they have the right to report on certain things. Sure. That's another thing. That's another major thing is if the person has the right to report on it. If it is really in your right, in your jurisdiction to report on it. And I feel like sometimes Britain, because they've colonized and they feel like they should, like it's their right to. I also feel like a lot of negativity is coming out because they just report on the negative. They feel like the negative gives money and everything else doesn't matter because it doesn't bring anything in. Yeah. They like negative things sell.
Yeah, sure. Because me in particular, I've been fighting a lot of people, let's say a lot of whites, Asians, I always fight with them. Not physical fight, but we do it. Well, people try to say, Africa is this, Africa, there are weird stuff, and I just want to clarify that point that we have good things too, right? We have good things.
Africa has wonderful things, but I think that what nobody takes into account is that the people, if you're not a journalist, if you don't hold a kind of like a news agency, you don't have control of what comes out.
Right.
And what comes out is what affects the people of Africa. What comes out is what causes other people outside of the country to view Africans and Africa in a certain way. And I don't think that's fair. I don't think that's fair because I think that a lot of the negative stuff is coming out, and there is, unless you know someone or
Sure.
unless you've been there or unless you understand, you know, it doesn't give Africans a chance to say, you know,
To explore, you
Yes.
do business. Do you think these negative stories or negative documentaries coming out of Africa into the media, BBC, Al Jazeera, whatever, do you think it's going to help the development and the growth of Africa? Well, it can be through business.
listen,
Yep.
with all the corruption,
Yeah.
I think it does not help because legitimate businesses don't want to have
Anything?
anything to do with anybody who's
Sure.
corrupt. If you want to make, you know, and every business has their flaws, every business has their things that they shouldn't have done that they did do to move on up. It's true. But certain do more than others. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I understand.
Certain do more bad to move up than others. I feel like if I had a business, you know, you have to look at how it looks for your business to be in business with Africa
Sure.
or any, you know, is it good for you? Does it help you? If you're in business with Africa, will you be able to be in business with another country who maybe doesn't like Africa or another company
Sure.
who maybe is not in agreement?
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I understand.
I don't know if you're
I understand.
I think the corruption,
Yeah.
I think the business that will come out of it is a corrupt business.
Sure.
Like
I agree.
like the really corrupt things, like the mafias and mobs and those who that will come out.
So at the end, everything is going to be negative.
Yeah.
Negative business or what that weird business
Hopefully
stuff.
not. Hopefully not, because Africa has a lot of beauty.
Yeah, sure.
So hopefully not. But what it is they're selling all this negativity. And even if you do a documentary on something negative, if maybe you can shine a brighter light at the end of the documentary,
Sure.
like, okay, you know, this is happening.
Yeah.
I don't know, I can't give you an example, but if you just say, you know, like the football one,
Yeah.
where they bought the referees and that
Yeah, you're
that Ghana guy, the one you showed me.
yeah.
If they show a positive light, like, okay, they took the head of the Ghana Football Association
Yeah.
out, you know, he was punished. Maybe that brings a positive light. People will want to invest in football in Africa,
Yeah.
in Ghana. People
Yeah.
would want to do that because you know what? Okay, we see that even though he was corrupt, he's taking money,
Yeah, sure.
you know, but he got punished. So yes, there was something bad, but something good came out of it. Something positive, which was his punishment and the fact that they are trying to make the football, the association, you know, valid. You know, not corrupt, not unfair, I guess you could say.
Yeah. You talk about this football thing. I wanted to wait, you know, but let's go straight to this football thing. You watch the video, right?
Yeah.
And do you think it's going to do something great or it's going to do something negative on Africa? Well,
I think
looking
the
at what
investors-
happened.
I think any investors who want to go in and invest in football
Yeah.
within the country, I think it would do negative. Because if I'm an investor and I see that,
Yeah.
I'm gonna say I'm not gonna spend all my money. What am I gonna do? Start bidding about who's gonna have to give more money so that we can invest? Like, you know, sponsorships and investments, you always have to give money, but you don't want to have to give money in a negative way because that way they're gonna have to keep giving more and more and more and more. So I think that if they don't do something to punish or do something that shows all of Africa and the rest of the world, look, they were taking money, they were taking bribes, but we punished them. We put them in their place. If they don't show that, I think it's going to be negative for maybe not negative, but I think it would be kind of like maybe
A severe punishment or whatever.
I think it would be a little. It would hurt
Yeah,
the
sure.
football association of Africa, of Ghana. It would hurt their association.
Yeah.
It would hurt their association. It would hurt their sponsors. It would hurt their players. I mean, these poor players are busting their ass, and the people up top are receiving all this money.
Yeah.
You know what it is to play a football game and have a referee say call some type of flag and you not do something? You know, it's not a red
Which means
call.
that the referees are dictating what should happen in a particular match,
yes,
right?
yes, they have the power. That's
They
what
have
I'm
the power
saying.
because they took something, right?
They're
That is
taking
wrong.
the ability of somebody to win fairly away.
Yeah, and all these stuff. My concern is all these stuffs are just going into the air, just going
Into the
into
public.
Yeah, into the public. You know, not the public domain, as in Ghana specifically, but going outside. And this is so weird, and it brings the image of Ghana, and for that matter, the whole of Africa down.
Yes.
What do you make of it?
I think it's true. I think too much is coming out and into the world. However, I will say that Africa is no less than any other country, no less than America. Because in America, they do the exact same thing. The only difference is that there's not a documentary proving it.
All right.
I think there was one. But
Which
many
means
years
that
ago.
in America, they try to control the system, you know.
Yes.
That is what I'm talking about. That is what Africa
But-
should emulate.
But you will not. The difference is that, like I told you, Africa is no less, or Ghana is no less than America. The difference is that America keeps it so quiet,
Very good.
so covered that we never know.
They domesticate everything. Even the indigenous of America will not even know. By the time they realize, maybe the person could have been in prison or kind of stuff. Like
We
that.
don't. So many times we don't find out until
Many years. Yeah.
or not at all.
Oh. Do you think?
Let me clarify something.
Okay.
I think the good thing
Yeah.
in Africa, in Ghana, about these documentaries, I think it's bad that it's going out to the world so everybody knows about it and everybody makes their own judgments.
Sure.
And many times it's a negative judgment. But the good thing is that at least it's being exposed.
Yeah.
In America, we don't have that many times.
Yeah.
They cover it up.
They
a
cover
lot.
it up.
So I would prefer the exposure to, but I understand what you're saying. That it's making a negative light
Yeah.
for Ghana and for Africa,
For Africa, yeah.
for the
That's what-
foreigners. Yes,
yeah.
I understand that.
I also understand where you're coming from because it's like you wanted to see those kind of people in the society, like this is a guy, this is a boss from this firm, and he did corruption stuff, and we grabbed him, right?
Yes.
Oh, this one, now let's shame him, even though he's going to prison, but we want to shame him. But this is a country, you know, we can say the third whatever. You made mention of something, Africa being, or maybe let's come to Ghana, like Ghana being the third whatever country.
Oh, because of the inequality between
Yeah.
the rich and the poor.
Sure.
There's such a big gap, I feel,
Yeah.
from what I've seen. From what I've seen, and like I said, I've never been to Africa. I don't know. I haven't been there. I haven't lived. I haven't, you know.
Yeah, sure.
But there's such a big inequality. You see those who have all the money, and then you see the poverty. And maybe there's a couple in the middle.
Yeah.
You know, there's a percentage in the middle, but it's a very small percentage from what I've seen.
You have seen, yeah.
But the rich, they take and take and take from everyone, and they make sure to suppress them.
Yeah.
To not allow them to come up.
Okay, so do you think, let me ask this question, let me chip in this. So do you think Africa, and let's say Ghana and Africa as a whole, should emulate what America is doing? Now, when it comes to things like journalism thing and social media thing, they should emulate what America is doing by domesticating their staffs. Like, things should not go outside, you know.
I think that, yes,
Africa
they
or
should
maybe
domesticate it,
Ghana. Yeah.
but I think that it should go outside when they have a documentary, they show the negative, and
Yeah.
they show the consequences.
Yeah.
And they show that, you know, it's not okay.
Yeah.
We take control. It's not okay. This man took this money, this man, you know, hurt this woman, and there was consequences for him.
Yeah.
The thing I don't see are the consequences for the actions. You know,
All right. Let's take a little break here. I told you my special guest for the show is Jackie Boyton. So if you are now into the show, you are watching Richie King Show live. And we are deliberating on the topic, stop selling out Africa through the use of negative documentaries. Now let's come to this issue. Now you watch this video of an interview on BBC with this girl, you watch Moesha.
Oh, yeah. Moesha.
Talking about the fact that, when you are in Ghana, let's come to Ghana now,
Okay.
when you are in Ghana and you are a lady in Ghana, you cannot even afford to pay for the rent of your apartment unless you sleep with a countless number of men. That this kind of weird stuff happen in America.
Oh yes, there's we call them floozies. There's floozies in America. That's normal. But the thing that surprises me is that this was on, what was it, on CNN?
BBC.
BBC. I thought there was one on CNN, but I might be wrong. This is not journalism, what this woman was talking about.
Yeah.
You want to talk about how difficult it is for a woman to, survive and show women who actually do things, not someone who, wants to, or is maybe a little famous, this Moesha, a little famous, but she's selling herself for the rent. So cheap for the rent. So cheap for the rent. I think it's unfair. It's very, very, very unfair for the women of Ghana to have this one woman try to say, this is how it is. I really doubt it. I believe that there's women who are much stronger than I am, who I love to work and support.
Sure.
But I think that there are women there who are, they're not women like
Excellent women.
There's women who, and let me tell you something, a woman, once she has her mind on something, she will take care of everything.
Sure.
Everything. So with this Moesha girl saying all that foolishness about having to sleep with, no, you're just lazy as hell, and you're just using your body, and you're just selling yourself. You want to sell yourself, fine. You want to sell yourself, fine.
Sure.
But don't try to sell the rest of the women in Ghana because you want to sell yourself.
And this weird stuff is coming through the internet to the world.
I don't understand that. That wasn't even a good. I mean, what positive light did that have in Ghana? This girl saying all this foolishness. Interview someone who is working her ass off. Interview someone who is showing a powerful woman, woman, not somebody who's selling herself for some rent. No, I know there's women out there busting their behinds so that they can pay their rent and support themselves and anybody else.
Sure.
So that's very unfair. I think that's very unfair and very silly for them to report on somebody like that. I don't care who she is.
Yeah.
She might be a little famous. That don't mean she's smart.
That is it. Okay, now let's do a very quick one. Let's go to South Africa. Now you watch a video of a religious leader, making people to eat grass. Have you ever seen or heard anything about this kind of stuff in America before?
Well, they do have cults in America where, that Charles Manson, he had a cult where he killed people.
Yeah.
So they do have cults in America.
Sure.
But these people are not allowed to run around. It's called a cult because it's quiet.
Sure.
You don't know about it until something big happens.
Oh.
And they, this is not, a cult is not something that they can do out in the open, is what I'm trying to say.
Sure.
And this pastor who's making these people eat grass, that's crazy. Why would he even... Okay, I feel very bad for the people who are listening to him because I feel like they're looking for something, and it's not like, oh, I pity them. No, I don't pity them. I wish I could help them because I feel like they're looking for something. They're looking for something, Joe. They're looking for something because their life is difficult.
Sure.
They want an answer. And this pastor is telling them to eat grass as the answer. That's not the answer, like you told me, and I see it too in my life. If you want an answer, you have to believe that there is a God, that He does exist.
Sure.
And how do you do that? By looking at your life, how He exists in your life.
Sure.
The facts that happened in your life. This pastor telling them to eat grass is not going to help them. They're not cows.
Maybe ruminant.
And you know what? And you know what's another sad thing? You can see that the power First of all, you can see that these people are looking for something, are looking for an answer, want help. They want some comfort. And the powerful people are giving them nothing. They're giving them nothing, and they're making them look ridiculous in return. They're giving them nothing. That's not fair for them. That's not fair for them. That makes me angry because that's not fair for them. It's not. You laugh. But I'm serious.
No. I'm very angry too. I'm very, very angry. You know, looking at this stuff, you know, the way and manner things are just cropping up into the system, into the media system. BBC are just.
And you have to ask yourself why.
I don't know.
Why is this all coming out? There's always a reason behind journalism. There's always a reason for the journalist, for the media. There's always a reason why they let these stories out.
Yeah.
So it kind of makes me wonder what they are planning. What is their reason? Why? Why let these foolish stories all come out?
Okay,
Why?
now looking at these stories, can you say that Africa as a whole, or maybe let's concentrate on maybe Ghana. Let's say Ghana as a whole, maybe this football staff, this Moesha staff, and other staffs. Now, looking at these staffs coming all into the media, do you think Africa has a future?
Yes, of course, Africa has a future.
Okay.
I think that 100%. I think Africa is a lot smarter than these foolish people.
Yeah.
Africa's a lot smarter than this foolish Moesha. There's corruption in every part of this world.
Sure.
So this guy with the football, yeah, he's corrupt as hell.
Yeah.
But I want to believe that Africa will do something to punish him.
I'm sure.
I don't know if that will happen, but I think that the major thing, I think good can always come out of Africa. Good has always come out of Africa.
Yeah, sure.
I think that the major thing is that Africa as a whole has to come together to try to stop all of this corruption. And the hard part is that I'm sure there's corrupt cops, there's a corrupt judicial system. So, you know, it's not going to be easy.
Yeah, sure.
I think it's going to take many, 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 many years.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to be an overnight thing, not even 5 or 10.
Yeah.
But I think that there's this, yes, I absolutely do think that's something.
Okay, now looking at the behaviors of these politicians, right? The so-called big guys in Africa and across
They
the world.
manipulate and control
yes.
the people.
Sure.
Yes, these politicians.
Now, looking at
manipulate.
what they are doing right now, do you think it's going to have a negative impact on the youth? Are you sure? Do you think
Yes.
the youth is going to
They
emulate
don't
them,
give
or
them
they're
a
going
chance.
to take after them?
They don't give the youth a chance.
Sure.
They
And that is what I'm fighting for.
They squash their dreams. They destroy their dreams, and even not everybody's dreams. But
Sure.
when you come out of college, you come out with this, you know, idea that you're gonna do something positive. You're gonna change the world, and you realize how hard it is. Then you realize how hard it is, and you're
Very
like,
hard.
this is. But I think that what these politicians are doing is so unfair because they don't look at their people. They're not looking at the youth. They're not looking at the youth. They're looking at themselves. They're looking at how much money they can get and how they can support their family with all this money. That's not
Sure.
fair. They look
This is
to
crazy.
keep
Absolutely.
themselves on top. They look to keep themselves on top and to keep their family on top. Everybody else, it's not their worry.
Okay, shortly, what is your advice to the youth of Africa and Ghana as a whole?
I think they need to come together. I think the youth, Africa and Ghana, there's so many smart, strong, powerful ones. They need to come together and peacefully try to do this. It's not an easy way. There's no easy way.
Sure.
There's no easy way. But it doesn't mean that you don't do it just because it's not an easy way. And I think that the youth nowadays, yeah, all this negative stuff is coming out in the social media, but they also have social media.
Sure.
And they can start showing themselves on social media stronger.
Stronger than ever.
Stronger than
That's
ever.
what I've been advising my youth about. You know, but I don't know. Sometimes, the youth of Africa, especially my country, they are kind of just a little bit scared about these so-called big guys. They don't want
You
to
don't
talk
blame
about
them.
them.
I don't blame them
Yeah.
because you know what? Sometimes going after the big guy is a scary thing.
Yeah.
Because they can not physically harm you, but they can destroy anything that you try to do.
Sure, that is what they're afraid. You know, I have a lot of friends. You know, way back since we completed college, like let's say 5 years ago, 6 years ago, 7 years ago, they are still in the house, unemployed. And these guys are the same guys who going to take after these big, so-called big guys. And what do you think is going to happen to Ghana? Looking at what these big guys are doing now, and these people who have been in starvation for a very long time, what do you think is going to happen to Africa and Ghana as a whole?
I don't know. The thing is, when it's things like that, you either have two options.
Sure.
Either A, they take the route where they follow in the footsteps of these big guys, where they get greedy too.
Sure.
Where they start thinking about only themselves.
Sure.
Or you have the rare who decide not to do that, who see the suffering that they've incurred, the suffering that has happened to them, the hardship, and they want to help the other not have to, or they want to help fix. There's many people who want a happy, good world, and then greed comes in, and selfishness, and that sometimes destroys it. But I call me naive, but I think that there's a lot of good people out there.
Sure.
And the good people, I think, over time will overcome the bad.
All right. Finally, let's wrap up.
Oh my God, what time is it?
Yeah, let's wrap up. Don't worry about time. You gotta go. Now let's wrap up. Finally, now your advice to the media guys out there in Africa, especially in Ghana, my country.
I would tell you that if you want to make a documentary about something that has happened, great. I think you should do that. But be fair to the people of Ghana, be fair to the people of Africa. Be fair to their history, be fair to the truth. Let the truth come out. But don't try to sell the truth. Don't try to make it look so that you look good and forget everybody else. And I think that a major thing is you show the truth, but you also show the consequences. The actions that Ghana, that Africa, that the people have taken to overcome this negative, whatever, if it was negative, to overcome it.
Sure. Thank you very much.
All right, Joe.
Pointing. Nice having you on my show.
Okay.
All right. See you another time.
Yes.
And enjoy your trip.
Maybe I'll be back.
Enjoy your trip to Africa.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Like I told you, this is the authentic show. We are talking for the youth of Africa and the youth of Ghana as a whole. You are live on the Richie King Show. Now, you see, Africa is for you and me. So we need to come together, build a better Africa. Okay, a better Africa, better everything, your infrastructure, everything, our economy. When we build it, it's for you. Don't get greedy. Like, I don't want to mention names, so stay tuned. I will come to you another time. Let's say tomorrow. Tomorrow we'll have a big show, and we'll come your way. Now, for now, we will say goodbye. Ciao.
Bye-bye.